In this video, we will be covering how to change the MyCompanyName variable that shows up in the comments of new class files created in Xcode. Once you have created a new class file, the comment at the top will look similar to this. Everything here should be fine for the default behavior except for the MyCompanyName variable. You probably want to change this to better reflect yourself or the company you work for. Manually changing this each time you create a class file will get old very quick. Fortunately, we have options to change the default behavior. There are two ways to change the default value of the MyCompanyName variable. The first is to set the company name and address book for your card. This card represents the owner of the currently logged in user. The second is to use the terminal application and execute a command line utility named defaults. This will set the default value in Xcode's plist file. The value set using the defaults command will override the value in address book. This means that if you have one company name in address book and another in Xcode's plist file, the value in the plist file will be used. Before the default value is reflected in Xcode, it must be restarted. It is a good practice to quit any application before altering its plist file with the defaults command. The actual variable in Xcode's plist file is organization name. It is part of the PBX custom template macro definitions dictionary. Boy, that's a mouthful. You may be wondering about now, what is a plist file or a dictionary? We are not covering those now, but we will in a later video. For now, I just want you to see what the command line code is to change the default value. And that code is defaults write com.apple.xcode, and then we put in PBX custom template macro definitions. There's a space, a dash, DICT, that's for dictionary, organization name, that's the variable that we're going to set, and then in quotes, your company name. Once this code is executed in the terminal, then that value will be set in the plist file. Now that we have seen what we need to do, let's go do it. Our first option is to use address book. So let's go ahead and open that up. Go to the Finder, go to Applications, and launch address book. I'll go ahead and close the Finder window. And what you'll want to do is make sure that you're on the account that has me next to the name. And the way you set this card to be the default card is to go up to the menu, go to Card, and then right here, make this my card. Now mine's grayed out because this is my card, but if it wasn't, then that would be an option for me to choose. So I'm going to go ahead and click Edit, and I'm going to add my company name. And I'll click the Edit button again. That will solidify those changes, and we can quit address book. So we can go ahead and launch Xcode now, see how the changes were affected. And we'll want to create a new Xcode project. We're going to want to choose Cocoa application this time. The command line tool does not have these options at the top of the file because it's not a class file that's being created. So we'll go ahead and choose Cocoa application, and then click Choose, and I'll call this MyCompanyName. And when we click on one of the class files, we can see that MyCompanyName variable has been replaced with the name that I put in address book. So now let's go ahead and change this using the terminal. We'll want to quit Xcode. I'm going to bring a terminal window that I already have open out, and I'm going to go ahead and paste some code in here. Let me open this window up just a little bit wider. And with this command, we're going to read the defaults first to see what it's set to. So I'll go ahead and hit Return. And as you can see from the error we just got here, it says that this PBX custom template macro definitions does not exist. So our next step is to create it. I'll go ahead and paste in the code that we saw earlier, and I'll change the company name to just MyCompanyName. Now when I hit Return, this is going to set this value in the plist file. So if we read it again, I'm going to hit the arrow up twice. You can do that in Terminal. If you hit the arrow up, it'll go to the previous commands that you've had. Now when I hit Enter, it'll show me that the organization name has been set, and it's set to MyCompanyName now. So I'm going to go ahead and hide that and launch Xcode again. I'm going to go ahead and open up MyCompanyName the previous application that we'd created, and I'll just add a class file to this project. So to do that, just right-click on Classes, choose Add, New File, and I'm going to say Objective-C class. I'll choose that as a subclass of NSObject, and click Next. I'll name this New Name, and you can see now that the value has been set to MyCompanyName. So now we can see that the value set in Xcode's plist file takes precedence over address book's entry. And now you know two ways to set the MyCompanyName variable to better reflect yourself or the company you work for.